Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another Last Epoch build guide video, and this one is for the Paladin. It is Machine Gun Smite, and yes, I already know what you guys are saying. Bike, didn't you just publish a build guide for Machine Gun Smite like a little over a month ago? And the answer is yes. But what this is the Merchants Guild edition, and you might be even more confused. So if you guys didn't know, a lot of the builds I put out recently have been done inside in Legacy Circle of Fortune, and this was the build that I picked to come back to into Cycle and see, could I recreate this build in a decent amount of time and have it still be effective. And so that was the goal I set out for myself. So the gameplay you're watching was taken at 500 corruption, and I was able to kill Aberoth once. Yeah, my cheeks are clenching right now. There we and for the most part, like, yeah, it's not as good as the build guide I put out there. I'm doing half the corruption, but I think it was pretty good. This is pretty good for myself. I've been putting out a lot of builds that have been super strong recently. And I guess the real question was, is that because you're playing in Legacy Circle of Fortune where you have had time? And my main I guess clap back to that was, well, yeah, but if you've been playing in Cycle this entire time, you probably have pretty powerful gear as well, because this has been a very long cycle. This cycle has been going on for like what, 7 months since the refresh. So I'm sure there's some pretty cracked builds, but there's a lot of newer players who are coming back. So I wanted to play this build in Cycle. I already had a level 98 Paladin. So, I mean, I kind of cheated there. I didn't level. I just went and bought gear. I had a level 98 Paladin with a fully leveled out Merchants Guild. And I went and bought some gear and I tried it out. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So if you guys are interested in this build, there is a link in the description down below to the planner. This is mostly just in contrast to the build that I did a month ago, which was Circle of Fortune Legacy, as stated before. There's also a loot filter. This is the loot filter I used in Merchants Guild. It's got a couple of affixes that I found sold decently well. So yeah, we'll cover that in the video. With all that being said, guys, before we jump into the video, let's show what it can do. Well, as I said, this is 500 corruption. Here's some bosses. This is Raye and the Harbinger. It kind of takes a while. It's a little slow. The build was never that high of a damaging build. It wasn't that high of a damaging build, but it was very tanky. It was very survivable. So it was able to get the job done. It was able to get the job done. It was able to take them out. And yeah, here's some Orbis. I should call it the cockroach build. Just try and hang on as long as possible. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the game and check out the build. All right, guys, here we are in a different place. We're in the bazaar. So here is the gear. Let's go ahead and go over the gear. And I will probably use some of these stalls as reference. But yeah, I'm not going to do like I normally do. Like in my other videos, I do a demonstration. Since I've already put out a build guide for this, I'm just showing you what I did in contrast to that, if that makes sense, and some of the things I did to get some of the things. So let's go ahead and jump into the gear. So 3LP Polaris, you're able to get 3LP Polaris somewhat efficiently. Let's look for Polaris. Let's look for 3 to 4 legendary potential. So let's look for lowest to highest. So you can get a 3LP Polaris off the ground for 477,000. I know that is a lot of gold, but if you've been wheeling and dealing in the Merchants Guild, this is not too hard to come by. So, like, as you can tell, there is quite, you will have a bit of a selection, right? So I went for, I think I got this one for like 300 or 400K, and I was able to slam it with a T7 sword with spell damage. We can go ahead and take a look at that as well. So let's confirm that. Let's remove the legendary potential, and then let's look for spell damage. So what I do is I just look for spell damage. I look for tier 7, confirm, and then I look for subtype. I think it can only pop up on, wait, yeah, of course it can only pop up on swords. This is the sword vendor, so let's go ahead and look. Lowest to highest, T7 spell damage. You can get one right here. It's been listed 4 hours ago. You can get one, a T7 spell damage for 100,000. They're not all like that. That person's trying to undercut the market, right? The other cheapest is 422,000. I'm going to leave that in case somebody wants to use it. I know I'm not going to use it. So yeah, you can get yourself T7 spell damage. Somebody beware of this when you're buying on the Merchants Guild, because there is, like, this one has no forging potential. So you might be like, oh look, it's 450. Let me buy it, and then try and edit it. Be careful. Watch out for this. No forging potential. You can't edit this. This is good. This is good in terms of forging potential. Be on the lookout for that. So the stats you're going to be wanting is spell damage, chance to shred armor, mana. If you have a 4 LP, then you can go for chance to chill on hit. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that. I only got, this is the best I can get on here, right? Not the best stats, but I was kind of broke at the time, so this was what I was able to set up with. You're going to want spell damage, chance to shred armor, and mana. Moving on. So I just went for strength because we're using Bastion of Honor. So what I was going for was strength and health and strength, right? These are not the greatest reigns, but this one I was able to get some resistances I was looking for. I would say grab yourself some strength, grab yourself some fire damage if you can, and maybe a resistance and a health. This is what I was able to get set up with the amount of time I had. Same thing over here. If you're good off your resistances, you can get yourself like T7 health, strength. You want to make sure you want to have around 60 plus strength. I feel like that's the nice sweet spot for this to go with Bastion of Honor. Let's go over the belt real quick. These are kind of expensive. Let's go ahead and show you guys over here. I found the best thing to do is probably be level 12 in the Merchants Guild, and then buy yourself a failed slam, right? So let's go. We are going to be looking for, why am I blanking out right now? I'm embarrassing myself. Immolator's Ablation. There we go. So we're going to search, and we're going to do lowest to highest, right? I found, like, so as you guys can tell, like, even a failed slam, people want 600K for. So you could go for a 1 LP, but this is what you want. You want a high number. This is not good, right? This is not worth, in my opinion. 48% chance, unless you have extremely high cast speed, which I don't recommend for this build. You want near 100%, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to proc this number, right? So like this one is okay. Like, just because it's 2 LP doesn't mean it's immediately worth. Like this, I would spend 15 million for it, right? 96% chance. That's what you want. So what I say is go bargain hunting if you want to use this belt. Like, this is not too bad right here, 92%, and you got 1 LP. You can try and slam this with something. This is a good setup. Or you can go farm it yourself. But I'm going off the, I bought all my gear, so I'm assuming everybody would be buying their own gear too, unless you're able to find something like this. So yeah, this one I was able to buy. It already had health on there. I think I paid $1 million for it. In this case, it was worth. In this case, it was worth it for me. Leonines, I found this one. Like I said, you're looking for strength and mana, and then health, preferably. You could also do attunement in the helmet slot. That would work as well. And if you're doing what I'm doing, which is also using the Citadel boots, in my Circle of Fortune guide, we were using Foot of the Mountain. But since we're not using a red ring, I didn't see the point in using Foot of the Mountain. So if that's the case, you can also use Citadel boots, but I'm detracting from myself. So what we got right here, Leonine, I highly recommend it. The dodge rating, try and get percent health. As you can tell, I could, I guess, re-roll this item, but I've just kind of left it as is for right now. Try and squeeze some more health out of it. That could be good. Yeah, get yourself a Leonines, try and get tier 6 T7 strength, and then let the rest fall into place. The Solarum plate, I would recommend Champion's Regalia, but here's what's going on with Champion Regalia, right? I even had somebody sell me a Champion Regalia through somebody in my chat was like, hey, check Champion Regalia right now. I'm like, okay, and they listed it for 69 gold. It was hilarious. 69, dude. All right. We want subtype, we want Sentinel, we want Champion Regalia. Right. So what you're going to be looking for is you're probably going to want health, and you're going to see why that is a bit of a fool's errand if you're trying to find. Let's just do that. Just even T6 health. T6 health. They want millions. Like, these are not even really, like, the best in terms of, in fact, oh, I thought that was mine for a second. These are not even necessarily, like, the best. Somebody wants 4.4 million. Like, look at that. I could buy that and be completely broke, and then I'm stuck with all of these, right? Let's try looking for T6% health, right? Look at this. No forging potential. No forging potential. These are failed forging potentials, and there's only 2, and they want millions for it. You can't do anything. This person literally put this together and then made a copy of it, because you can tell because it's facing the other way. This has been mirrored. Rune of Creation. They made a copy of it, and then now they're selling it. Right? I mean, I guess if I had any forging potential left on this, I could have made a copy of this and sold it, but... So if you want, you can go outside of it. You can look at your Terror Crown, your Apocalypse plates. You can look at your Solarum plates. Solarum, I think, is a good base. You get armor, endurance, and fire damage. And hey, guess what? We're doing fire damage. This one, as you guys can probably tell, came from our friends at the Nemesis Corporation. And we got attunement, mana, health, vitality. This thing is cracked. This thing is cracked. You're probably not going to find something like this. I would highly recommend to try and get health, or and then like attunement mana or mana. You could also go for strength. Try and boost this number up. Honestly, if you're below 60 strength, I would try and go for strength instead of attunement. 60 to 70 strength, this build really shines. All right, cool. Let's go over to the Bastion of Honor. All right, so we have the 1% block chance per strength against enemies within 4 meters. So that's why we don't take block chance on here. So what we got right now is we got 28% block chance and strength. So that is a total of 88%. And when we use the Sigils of Hope, all right, we're jumping ahead real quick, but when we use the Sigils of Hope, we gain 3% block chance per sigils. So at 4 sigils, that's 12%. So with all that being said, we have 100% block chance. We're riding the line here, right? We're riding the line. It's a lot more flexible if you can get this closer to 70 strength, but this is exactly where we need to be right now. So what you're going to be looking for, Bastions of Honor, they're you can get one for cheap. Actually, I don't know if they're cheap anymore. I think I've been buying out the market, so you can blame me. You can get one. Like, this is one I listed, right? So if you want my Bastion of Honor, go ahead and buy it. It has block chance. I listed it for 100K. But you can get one for, I mean, it depends on what you want. But I mean, right now, if you're looking at this in your Merchants Guild and you're watching this video whenever it goes live, you can possibly go buy one right now in cycle for 200K or less. Now, they do start going up in price. Obviously, the ones that don't have any legendary potential or anything, they're selling for quite a bit more, so you can go throw it into the Nemesis. I don't know if I would recommend that. I don't think this is fair. I don't think that is fair. 2LP is nice. I think 2LP is nice. That is a ripoff. That is a major ripoff. Massive. Well, I don't know about massive ripoff, but I don't think it's worth. 2LP is what, if you got the money, I would try and do. I got extremely lucky with this one. I bought it for 99,000. Somebody listed it for 99,000, and I immediately bought it, and it became a YouTube short. So hello, YouTube. Yeah, so that's how I got that Bastion of Honor. The devotions are actually not too bad. I think you can get a 2LP devotion. I think you can get a 2LP devotion for not a lot of money. Let's actually do 2 to 4. Right, 100,000. I mean, yeah, if you're starting off with nothing, you obviously beggars can't be choosers. Oh, even cheaper, 75,000. These are not the greatest rolls, right? But if you're just looking for 2LP anything, I would recommend just getting a 2LP. Damn the rolls. You need devotion is key to the build, and here's what I recommend. I recommend tier 7 mana and then whatever else you want. Health is great. Health is perfect. Rolls on this are not that great, but yeah, less than 100,000, get yourself a devotion, try and get T7 mana on there, and you're off to the races. Let's go over the gauntlets. Highly recommend Eternal Gauntlets. If I'm not mistaken, T7 strength, T7 is like, I don't think it's going to happen, right? So let's do cast speed, T7 cast speed, and then let's look for Eternal Gauntlets. Right, I think you will not like the cheapest you will get is 1 point. Like, this is just because somebody's listing it. Other than that, like, look at this. Look at this. You're not getting it. Like, that one just makes no sense. This one is nuts. Like, I kind of don't blame them. Like look at that. That's T7, T6. That's kind of nuts. Kind of nuts right there. But when you back it down, right, when you back it down to tier 6, it becomes a lot more affordable. A lot more affordable. So highly recommend T6. Absolutely. I highly recommend get yourself T6, throw some mana on there. If you need endurance, throw that on there. And I would recommend trying to seal a chance to apply frailty and then putting something like health or armor shred. But yeah, get yourself some Eternal Gauntlets. They work out great. We already went over the boots. I recommend movement speed and health. Strength would be my number one recommendation in the prefix, along with movement speed, and then cooldown reduction. You don't really use it. I would recommend another health, but yeah, go with that. We already went over Immolator's Ablation. I guess we should go over some other options in the belt slot, because Immolators is kind of hard. Like, that's a lot of money to spend. Like, well, that one I think is a good price. I'm going to leave that in case somebody wants to buy it. Like, hey, if you're watching this video right now and nobody swooped it up, grab this. Okay, so let's go over something that what I would recommend is going in here looking for hybrid health. Check out tier 6 hybrid health. Let's see. And just look for any sort of belt, right? So, I mean, a couple 100,000, that is a little expensive, but you might be able to find a deal. Like, this one's not too bad, 300,000. Only 33 forging potential. I don't know if I recommend. But you kind of going through here. I don't know if there's a particular base that I would recommend. Obviously, something like plated or Praetorian Warriors is not too bad either. Like that 500,000, you can get yourself some hybrid health. You could also, instead of hybrid health, just look for increased health. You can probably even get a tier 7 for not a terrible amount of money. Yeah, like, look, this is something I listed. So, hey, if you want my belt, look at that. Tier 7% health, which I think is very good. You can get yourself one for 30,000. Looks like that's a discount, though. These two are discounts. After that, it goes up to like 300,000, which I still think isn't too bad. Right, you can get yourself some reduced bonus damage taken. I would recommend health, but there's plenty of great bases to look out for. And then if you want to go on the absolute cheap, you can go added life tier 7. I'm pretty sure you're gonna find not too bad. Actually, 50,000. I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like 50,000 is pretty fair for a T7. Like I said, beware, but you can get yourself a belt. Any belt you want if you can't get that. All right, let's talk about the relics. So this is one that will be interesting. This is the huge divergence, massive divergence from what we had in the other build. In the other build, I was using a Twisted Heart. Where did it go? Oh, it went into legendaries. That makes sense. So this is what I was able to get my hands on. I tried to slam cast speed on here. Let me just take this out right now. Let me show you something. So in the build, in my build guide that I posted, I highly recommended that you get yourself a Twisted Heart with +4 to Smite. Well, right now that's just not even possible. All right, that is not even possible. Let's look for T6, right? All right, so you could pay 400 million for this. There's only one slammable relic right now that they want 50 million for +4 to Smite. Then that one's they want 200 million, and then I mean, I guess this one isn't terrible. I could buy this right now if I wanted to, but I don't have the favor. But look, you can get a +4. That's okay. That's all well and good. But so I would say give up on trying to add pluses to Smite unless you find it. What I would recommend, Twisted Heart is good, especially if you can get some cast speed on there. But I found myself not doing well in the damage department. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It could be the idols. I don't have the best idols, but I wasn't doing that well in the damage department, and I need a little bit more. And I was having a lot of trouble getting cast speed on to Twisted Heart. I would keep getting mana or something else on there. So while I do recommend Twisted Heart, I do think that is the way to go. Soulfire is a great pickup. You can get it for... You can get a 3 LP for not a ton of money. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we're going to look at Soulfire. We're going to look at 3 to 4 LP. And you can get one, if we go lowest to highest, you can get one for 266,000 gold right now. This one's actually not too bad. right here, 8%. Obviously, you want a higher number here. It looks like a bunch got listed. When I was shopping, I think this was like the cheapest. Like, oh no, listed 141 days ago. Never mind. I guess what I bought was cheaper than this. Looks like these are all here. Yeah. So what you're probably gonna want, you're gonna want something that gives you a good number. Why didn't I buy this? Why was I being so cheap? All right. Well, that is that. Soulfire, you're gonna want cast speed, health, and mana. If you go for a 4 LP, you can throw whatever on there. This one I happen to get chance to apply frailty. That's all right. Opens up options. I would recommend mana. A little extra mana can go a long way with this build. All right, guys. I know that was a very lengthy gear section, but I felt that it was very important because this is more geared towards the people who are playing Merchants Guild, and I wanted to show you what you can hope to find if you already have a high level paladin and you're level 12 with about a week's gameplay and a sack of gold. All right, let's go over to the idols. Idols, again, being a gear, being part of the gear section. Let's go over here to Sentinel idols. We are going to look for affixes. What you will be looking for are Smite idols, right? Search. So you can get your hands. It's actually not bad. I don't know who listed it, but thanks. Thanks. People have been super stingy with these idols, right? What you are looking for, it's like, I don't know who this was. Thank you. Thank you. 5 hours ago. Purchase. If you're watching this video, whoever you were, thank you for your idol. So, dang. What you're trying to get is a high number here, and then what you would want is block effectiveness. The thing is, that's going to be pretty difficult. Listed 3 days ago? Hey, I'm going to leave that for you guys. I'm going to leave that one for you guys because I don't think I want to spend 3 million on an idol. But what you're going to want is high number here, and then you're going to want either health or you're going to want either health or you're going to want either health or what I would highly recommend, block effectiveness. Right? So what going back to Bastion of Honor, I recommend reduce damage taken on block and block effectiveness. Obviously I didn't get that, but I would recommend reduce damage taken on block first because you can get block effectiveness on your idols. The fact of the matter is people are being kind of, what's the word? Stingy. Stingy, I think, might be the word. Oh my gosh. Except for this guy. Thanks. The legend sold it to me for one. He could have gotten more. He could have received more gold from vendoring it. That dude is a legend. Yeah. So what you're going to want is increased vengeance, increased damage with smite. Fire damage over time isn't too bad. But what you're really looking for is either chance to shred armor on hit with fire, I guess fire damage over time, block effectiveness would be number one, or health. And then you're going to want a Throne of Ambition and a Trinity of Flames. That is the idol. Let's go ahead and take a look at the blessings. So I needed gold. Yes, I am a sinner. I am not using experience, and I am level 99. Yes, like I said, I am a sinner. Because I was looking for gold. Obviously, take whatever you want. I would recommend experience gain until you hit level 100. And then after that, do whatever you want. Body armor drop rate's not too bad. One-handed sword is actually pretty good. Ailments, you're going to want resist all. Chance to shred fire resistance, very important. Armor, take whatever you want right here. Mana and critical strike multiplier are the blessings I recommend. Let's jump into the skills. Not much has changed. Looking for the movement speed and the attack speed. You want 3 points in Harbinger of Dust. Obviously, we are very close to Season 2 coming out, so Volatile Reversal will probably be one that, obviously, I'm not going to recommend, but with the damage on the build right now, if you're playing this, I highly recommend Volatile Reversal, because the damage is not super high. Highly recommend Volatile Reversal right now, and then hopefully, as a whole, there's a nice little damage boost. Holy Aura, you're mostly looking for elemental resistance and endurance. If you need it, this is a nice way to pick up some of that. You can get yourself a free cleanse, attack speed, cast speed, fire pin, very important. Ignite chance, that's pretty good, and burning blows, increased global fire damage of 50%. It's a nice pickup. So if you guys have seen my other one, you already know how it works. We transform Healing Hands into a melee attack, and then when we're casting Smite, let me show you guys. We're pretty much done with the Merchant's Guild at this point, so I guess I am giving you a little bit of a demonstration. All right, let's see. Does this still work? No. Okay. At one point, you were able to just roll off and be at the dummies, but let's go over here. So, if you guys didn't know, you're going to try and hit this enemy. When you're casting Smite on an enemy, you're going to, with Healing Hands being converted into a melee attack, you're going to hit the enemy with Smite. You're also, like, as you can see, oh yeah, it requires a target. So as you can see, that is the Healing Hands melee attack, right? So you notice not as many smites, right? Now get up here and start attacking, and we start proccing a whole bunch more smites. And the reason why we're doing that is chance to cast Smite on melee hit up to 3 times per second. So you're able to get up to 3 extra smites per second on melee hit. So if your cast speed is high enough, right, you're able to proc a lot more smites. And this build, as a result, does pretty good against single targets. So by converting this into a melee attack, you're able to proc more smites. After that, you're going to have to pick what's good for you. Obviously, Hand of Aurelis, this allows a 100% chance to cast Healing Hands on Smite. Also, I needed to reduce the mana cost, so Blessed Perish and Purity of Thought, these work out very well. 2 points in a Prayer of the Fallen. If you have any pluses to Healing Hands, try and get yourself a 3 to 4 so you can get some more urgent healing. And yeah. Beyond that, you don't really use Healing Hands for damage. You just heal yourself and use it to proc extra smites. Let's go over Sigils of Hope. So since we got to burn down our mana for Devotion, I guess I haven't really done a really good job. Like, so if you've never... I haven't done a very good job of explaining how the build works, because I guess I'm assuming everybody's just seen my other build guide. But... But if you haven't, sorry that you're having to find out about it right now. What we're trying to do is we're using Polaris to get extra spell damage from both strength and also slamming it with spell damage. And then we're also we're using it because we have a chance to cast Smite at 2 additional targets when you cast it. Right? You have chance to cast additional smites, and you have a chance to proc more smites on melee hit. Obviously, that's what we're doing with the Healing Hands. Excuse me, I gotta take a drink of something. And so one way we do that is we use Devotion to increase our cast speed with Smite, and then we also get more flat damage with Smite per 5 missing mana. That's why we want a lot of mana, right? But that's 5 missing mana. We get more cast speed per 2% missing mana, up to 50% cast speed with Smite, right? That's why mana burn down, we cast faster. Hence Machine Gun Smite. So, using that, you want more mana and you want to try and lower it. And what we do, sorry, I kind of blanked there for a second. So what we do is we cast sigils constantly to lower our mana, and we kind of control it that way. One good way of doing that is to use Word of Alacrity. 30% cast speed with sigils. We're able to burn down our sigils even faster. Then we have Empowering Sigils. We gain increased damage per active sigil, 25%. So that's 100% increased damage with sigils. Take 3 points in Iron Sigils for the Endurance Threshold, 5 points in Enduring Hope for you make them last longer, 1 point in Tetragram, allows us to cast another sigil. You normally get 3, but when you take this, you can now have 4 sigils. 1 point in Meditation for double health regen, only on you, and then 3 points on Sign of the Guardian, 3% block chance per sigil. So with all that being said, we have 40% block chance, 60 strength. We gain 1% block chance per strength against enemies within 4 meters, hence 100% block chance, so long as you have all 4 sigils up. And let's go over Smite. So here is what I recommend you do. We only have 20 points here. I recommend 3 points in Pillars of Light, 5 points in Sacrifice, 4 points in Atonement, because you're healing with Smite and Healing Hands. And then 3 points in Holy Fire and 5 points in Conflagration, right? That is all 20 points. If you are using Twisted Heart, I found that when you're using Twisted Heart and you're casting the Smite, I feel like your ward generation goes down because you're losing health, right? So the way Twisted Heart works is you lose 8% of current health, well, 5 to 8% depending on your roll. You lose current health, and then it gets converted to ward when you directly cast an elemental or a necrotic spell. You also gain a +1 to elemental and necrotic spells, 11 strength, cast speed. This is the full package, right? This is the full package. This is why I used it. But Soulfire, I needed the damage, right? So, what I found happens though, like you see our ward just kind of times out right there. Our ward kind of times out right there. So what you would want to do is put an extra point into Atonement, and you're not going to be losing life towards Atonement and trying to convert it into ward, if that makes sense. All right, so that is the skills. Let's go ahead and jump into the passive tree. So you're going to want 30 points in Sentinel because you're trying to get over to Blade Master. Any way you want to do that is up to you, but I would highly recommend 1 point in Stalwart for that 3% block chance. Recommend Juggernaut over Fearless. So this is what we might call a dump, right? So either if you're playing Void Knight, most of the time you put 4 points into Juggernaut, 8 points into Fearless if you're trying to get over here. Depends, or 6 points if you don't need Time and Faith. And then so one would get dumped on because you typically want 5 and 5. So I recommend 8 points in Juggernaut, 4 points in Fearless, 1 point in Stalwart, 5 points in Armorclad, 5 points in Valiant Charge. The cooldown reduction is for movement skills. Volatile Reversal is a movement skill. Obviously in Season 2 this would be different, but this is what we're going to be doing for now. 3 points in Time and Faith gives us some mana and health. Highly recommend 5 points in Blade Master for 30% attack speed with a sword and cast speed. Very nice. So if you can spare it, 10 points is fine right here. But I needed exactly this amount of resistances, and you need only 5 points. So, excuse me. So, If you don't need the resistances and health, you can just put 5 points here and spend them elsewhere. Otherwise, put as many points as you need to hit at least 5 points, and then to also gain your void and physical resistance in the Void Knight tree. In the Forge Guard tree, you need 3 points in Steel Aegis for 3% block chance. And then if you got any extra points, I would recommend putting them into Weapons Master, not for any bonuses here, but for the strength. Just for the strength. All right, so what we did here is we put 1 point into Honor for even more block chance, 10 points into Heaven Fire for that flat 30 spell damage with a shield, 8 points into Conviction for the pen and the increased damage, 8 points into Valor for health, 2 points into Blinding Light. I guess I don't really need it, so let's edit it right now so I can tell you what I would do with it, because I'm not really using blind for anything, so I would put it right there. Yeah, so 8 points into Valor gives us a little bit more health. So yeah, 8 points into Valor, 7 points into Holy Icon for the healing effectiveness, necrotic resistance, and health, 8 points into Sanctuary Guardian, armor with a shield and spell damage, and then 1 point into Shield Wall for the block chance. Now, in my previous build guide, I did not take Shield Wall because I needed the ability to dodge. Since we're not using Foot of the Mountain, we can take that extra block chance right here. 12 points into Reverence of Duality, just for the 24% increased health, damage, healing effectiveness, and mana. And then 12 points into Light of Raye for increased fire and lightning and movement speed. Now, what I did in my other build is, since I had a fair amount of attunement, I was able to work my way over here and take some points here. I would not recommend that at this time. That only works if you have a lot of attunement, and only works if you have a lot of attunement, and especially if you have something like Red Ring. And the boots we were using the whatchamacallit boots. The Foot of the Mountain, I literally was just talking about them. But this is almost a different build, right? This is kind of how Machine Gun Smite started out before we started pushing the corruption and needing more resistances and stuff to survive. This build has never been a high damaging build, and it was just about cramming as many resistances and health and all that fun stuff, knowing that we would get free crits and more damage from Throne of Ambition. So in Season 2, though, I do think that this build will be changing. That's why I think that this is a build I'm looking forward to revisiting in Season 2. And I think it'll be good. I think it'll be pretty good. I don't know if we'll be using Trinity of Flames, assuming Trinity of Flames stays the same. It might get changed, who knows. They haven't said anything. I don't know anything about that, but that 36% less critical strike multiplier does hurt. And particularly with this build, I feel it because in the build guide that I put out for Circle of Fortune, we were able to put some points into Deep Impact to offset Trinity of Flames, because we had a +3 to Smite on Twisted Heart. So not having it here, yeah, I can definitely feel it. But anyway, guys, I've rambled on quite a bit. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and thank you for possibly clicking on a build guide to a build that I already posted about a month ago. I really appreciate it. You guys take care. Peace out.